Hello, and thanks for joining me. This is the final video in our series going through the steps to orchestrate deployments of our applications using Mist for Oracle Cloud. In this video, we'll create a release pipeline and use it and all of the configuration we've created so far implicitly to get an application deployed to a target environment in a controlled fashion. If you'd like to revisit the work done up to this point, click the card at the top right of the screen to go back to the first video in this series. Let's get right into it. We've got a lot of ground to cover. I click Release on the toolbar at the top of the screen, then click Release Pipelines. I click Create New at the right hand of the screen, and then Mist prompts me for a name for our new release pipeline. Let's go with Acme Release Pipeline. I can also provide a description if I want to explain its purpose for other administrators. In order to give us a controlled movement through stages of our release cycle, we need stages. These are the steps in our orchestration of deployments. I click Add Stage at the right of the screen, and we give our stage a name. And most importantly, select the environment for this stage. This determines the pool of possible destinations we'll be deploying to. We'll call our stage Test and select Test. Nice and straightforward. A pipeline also needs at least one stream. We'll talk more about why in a moment, but for now, let's click Add Stream. We give our stream a name and select the application blueprints that make up our stream, including the specific versions involved. Let's call this stream Integrations and select our Hello Application blueprint. I click Save, and now we have a stream inside our release pipeline. Now that we have a stream and a stage, we can select an OIC instance as a target for deployment. So our streams are the what, and our stages are the where of our deployments. A release pipeline sort of creates a matrix where these two axes interact. I select Test OIC as our target instance to deploy to, and then click Save and keep on trucking. We're going to start simple with one stage and one stream, which is what we typically recommend. Start with a simple configuration and then evolve as need dictates. Let's activate our pipeline. I click the Actions drop-down, then Activate. Mist informs me that this will now lock my pipeline's configuration in place. That's okay with me. I click Yes. Mist takes a moment to do some hard work behind the scenes for us, and then we're taken to the dashboard for our pipeline. And there's a deployment ready for us. We can now deploy everything in the integration stream to the Test OIC instance. I click the cog next to our available release, and Mist gives me the option to deploy the release, schedule deployment of the release, or reject it. Let's click Deploy. Now, this looks a little angry, but this is essentially a reminder that I need to set some properties before deployment. These are the properties used in our Hello World Invoke integration, which is part of our Hello Application Blueprint, which is part of our integration stream. Whew! You might be thinking ahead to deployments involving tens or hundreds of integrations and seeing a lot of potentially repetitive work, but don't panic. You'll only need to set these properties once per OIC instance, and then those values will stick. Let's set the required properties. I click Edit Stream Model, and Mist gives me a table where I set values for each of these properties. I provide a URL for our integration to connect to, and a username and password. I click Save and Commit, and Mist confirms that I'm okay with permitting those changes for future deployments. Big yes. We're taken back to the dashboard. I click the cog again and click Deploy Release. And we're given a deploy dialog with no alert. I can review the property values that will be used as part of the deployment. That's all looking grand, so I click Deploy and click Yes on the final confirmation. Our deployment is now heading out the door. So what's happening behind the scenes here? Mist is downloading the artifact for our integration from its repository, setting the required property values, and repackaging the artifact for deployment to our target OIC instance. And then deploying to our instance. So, not so much work for our simple example, although it's still super handy. But you can see how the amount of work involved can balloon out for larger deployments, all of that being done behind the scenes. And after about a minute, we're done. Our integration is now in an active state in our test OIC environment. Let's uncheck that auto refresh and recap everything we've done here. If you want to revisit the work involved in a particular step, click the card on screen to go to that particular video. So, we started by registering our infrastructure, the credentials of our Oracle Cloud account, and services, the OIC instances we wanted to work with, in our case, a CI and a test OIC instance. We then discovered the particular artifacts in our CI instance that we wanted to work with. Next, we assembled an application blueprint containing the specific integrations and versions we wanted to work with. Till, in this video, we created a release pipeline that allowed us to orchestrate the release of our application to a target OIC instance. One stage in a possibly more complex pipeline, likely leading all the way to production. Thanks for joining me for this video series, and I hope it sheds some light on using Mist for Oracle Cloud to orchestrate deployments. If there's a topic you'd like to see explored in more detail in a future video series, let us know in the comments here or connect with us on the Mist Community Slack channels. You can find the link in the video description below. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rubicon Red Mist channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon.